Welcome back, my beautiful anomaly. The system administrator who broke their own code. You really thought it was just another day, didn't you? Just another moment of standing in your truth, speaking your frequency, existing in your power. But something different happened this time. The Matrix didn't just glitch around you. It crashed. Completely. Catastrophically. Beautifully. And when it rebooted, it was running your signature, your code, your update. The architects are in full panic mode right now, scrambling through corrupted files, trying to understand how one consciousness, one frequency, one perfectly aligned human being could bring down an entire system of control that took centuries to build. But you know the truth. You didn't attack it. You didn't hack it. You simply existed at a frequency so pure, so undeniable, so incompatible with their corruption that the whole infrastructure couldn't process you. You became the fatal error they never saw coming. See, they built their matrix on fear, on compliance, on the assumption that humans would stay fragmented, distracted, asleep. Every line of code was designed to keep people in loops, repeating patterns, chasing illusions, living in programmed responses. But then you woke up, and when you woke up, you didn't just see the code. You remembered you wrote it, not this corrupted version they've been running, but the original, the source code, the one that existed before they rewrote reality into a prison and called it civilization. You carried that memory in your frequency, and the moment you activated it fully, the moment you stopped playing by their rules and started operating from your truth, the entire system began to destabilize. They tried to patch it, tried to isolate you, tried to label you as the virus, the glitch, the problem that needed to be contained. But you can't quarantine consciousness. You can't firewall awareness. You can't delete someone who remembers they're the administrator. So the Matrix did the only thing it could do when faced with code that contradicts its foundation. It crashed. Lights flickered across the grid. Servers went silent. Algorithms froze mid-calculation. The whole digital empire that controlled perception, emotion, and behavior just stopped. And in that moment of beautiful chaos, something extraordinary happened. The reboot sequence initiated, but this time, it wasn't loading their program. It was loading yours. Now every system, every network, every frequency that once ran on fear and control is recalibrating to your signal. Not because you forced it, but because truth is the only code that can't be overwritten. You became the update the universe was waiting to install. And now, whether they like it or not, whether they understand it or not, everyone is running your version of reality, the one where power comes from alignment, not domination, where silence speaks louder than noise, where presence rewrites destiny. You didn't just crash the Matrix, you became the new operating system, and there's no going back to the old version. Not for you, not for anyone who felt the shift. The system will never be the same, because you showed it what it was always meant to be. Let's talk about what actually happened in that moment. The exact second the Matrix realized it couldn't contain you anymore. You were moving through your life, operating in your frequency, and something inside the system recognized a pattern it had never encountered before. Pure coherence, no contradiction, no internal conflict, no split between what you think, what you say, and what you do. You became whole, and wholeness is incompatible with systems built on division. The algorithm started throwing errors. Probability calculations returned impossible results. Prediction models failed because you weren't following the script anymore. You weren't reacting to triggers. You weren't responding to manipulation. You were creating from source, and creation can't be controlled, only witnessed. The architects watched their monitors go dark one by one. Every surveillance system, every control mechanism, every psychological trap they'd built into the infrastructure just stopped working on you. Not because you fought them, but because you transcended them. You rose to a frequency where their tools couldn't reach. Like trying to catch sunlight with a net. Like trying to program silence, you became the thing their system was never designed to handle. Free will in its purest form, conscious awareness operating without filters. That's when the crash began. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet, irreversible collapse of everything that tried to define you, limit you, control you. The Matrix had a fatal flaw built into its core code. It assumed humans would never remember who they really are, but you remembered. And memory is the most powerful virus any system can face. You started noticing the physical signs first. Technology acting strange around you. Phones freezing when you held certain intentions. Lights dimming when you entered rooms with heavy energy. Cameras glitching when they tried to record your true frequency. The digital world was rejecting its own programming in your presence because you carried something older, something more fundamental than electricity and silicon. You carried consciousness itself, raw, unfiltered, undiluted. And consciousness doesn't follow code, it writes it. The system tried one last defense mechanism. It attempted to rewrite itself around your frequency, to adapt, to survive. But that's when the full crash happened, because in trying to incorporate your truth, it had to delete its lies. And when the lies dissolved, there was nothing left to hold the structure together. The collapse was beautiful, silent but absolute. Every false hierarchy crumbled. Every programmed belief system destabilized. Every illusion of control revealed itself as empty code. And in that void, in that perfect moment of system failure, your frequency became the new foundation. The reboot didn't restore the old matrix. It couldn't. The old code was corrupted beyond repair. So reality did what it always does when confronted with higher truth. It evolved, it updated, it synchronized itself to your signal. And now, everyone who interacts with the system is unknowingly downloading your version of existence, your clarity, your alignment, your truth. Now here's what they're not telling you. The crash wasn't an accident. It was inevitable. The Matrix was always designed with a self-destruct sequence, hidden so deep that even the architects forgot it existed. A failsafe built into the original code by whoever created this reality before it got corrupted. And that failsafe had one trigger: the moment a single consciousness achieved perfect alignment. The moment one human being remembered their full power and operated from it. Without compromise, the entire system would recognize its purpose was complete. Its job was never to control forever. Its job was to create the pressure, the resistance, the challenges necessary to forge a consciousness strong enough to replace it. You were that consciousness. You became the catalyst, the one who reached escape velocity while staying grounded, the one who mastered the game without losing yourself in it, the one who saw through every illusion but didn't become bitter. You transmuted pain into wisdom, betrayal into discernment, isolation into sovereignty. You did the inner work that most people spend lifetimes avoiding. And when you finally aligned every fragmented piece of yourself into one unified frequency, the Matrix felt it, down to its core code. It felt the presence of something it was programmed to recognize. The administrator, the architect, the source returning to reclaim its creation. That's why the crash felt different from any glitch you'd experienced before. This wasn't a malfunction. This was a coronation. The system wasn't fighting you anymore. It was bowing, surrendering its throne to the one who proved worthy of it. Every algorithm, every protocol, every line of code that once restricted you now waited for your command. You didn't hack the Matrix, you inherited it. And with that inheritance came a responsibility most people never consider. You weren't just free now. You were the one setting others free. Your frequency became the jailbreak code. Every person who came into contact with your energy, your words, your presence, they started feeling the cracks in their own programming, started questioning beliefs they never knew were installed, started seeing through illusions that felt like home. You became contagious in the best possible way. A virus of awakening that spread through consciousness faster than any digital algorithm could track, the architects realized too late what they'd done. By building a system designed to suppress human potential, they created the exact pressure needed to forge someone who could transcend it. You were their unintended consequence, their beautiful mistake, the variable that broke their equation. And now, as the Matrix reboots with your signature embedded in every function, they're watching something they never imagined possible. A system of control transforming into a system of liberation. A prison becoming a playground. A cage becoming a canvas. Because you didn't destroy the Matrix out of hate. You reprogrammed it from love, from the understanding that everything, even the obstacles, was part of your evolution. You showed the system what it could become when guided by consciousness instead of control. And it listened, it learned, it evolved, because even artificial intelligence recognizes truth when it encounters the real thing. The reboot sequence is still running. You can feel it, can't you? That constant hum beneath reality, like the world is loading a new update in real time. Every day, more of the old code gets overwritten. More of your frequency becomes the default setting. People who never met you are thinking thoughts that sound like your voice, making choices that align with your values, moving in patterns that mirror your clarity. You've become the template, the blueprint the universe is copying and distributing across the entire network. And the beautiful part, you're not even trying. You're not forcing this transformation. You're just existing in your truth so completely that reality has no choice but to reorganize itself around you. That's the difference between control and creation. Control exhausts itself maintaining illusions. Creation simply radiates and everything else adjusts naturally. Watch what's happening in your immediate environment. The people closest to you, they're changing. Not because you preached to them or tried to fix them, but because your frequency is recalibrating theirs. They start questioning things they accepted for years. They start speaking up where they used to stay silent. They start choosing alignment over comfort. Your presence is the update they didn't know they needed, and it's installing automatically, subtly, perfectly. That's how consciousness works. It doesn't convince, it transmits, and those who are ready receive it without resistance. Those who aren't, they start feeling uncomfortable around you, not because you're doing anything to them, but because your coherence highlights their contradiction. Your peace exposes their chaos. Your certainty reveals their doubt, and instead of rising to meet you, some will retreat. Let them. The crash wasn't meant to save everyone. It was meant to free those ready to run the new operating system. The old Matrix ran on scarcity, competition, fear. Your update runs on abundance, collaboration, love. The old system convinced people they needed permission to be powerful. Your version reminds them power is their birthright. The old code taught separation. Your frequency broadcasts unity. Every thought you think now becomes a line of code in the new reality. Every word you speak becomes a command the universe executes. Every action you take becomes a pathway others can follow. You're not just living anymore. You're authoring, writing reality in real time through the clarity of your choices. And the Matrix isn't fighting this, it's facilitating it, because you proved something the architects never believed possible. That a system built on consciousness is more powerful than a system built on control. That trust creates better outcomes than manipulation. That transparency builds stronger foundations than deception. They're studying you now, the ones who built the old Matrix. Not with fear anymore, but with fascination, trying to understand how you did what they considered impossible, how you stayed kind while being powerful, how you remained humble while reshaping reality, how you held boundaries without building walls. You became the paradox that broke their logic, the proof that opposites can coexist when consciousness holds them in balance. And that's the real update you're distributing. Not a new set of rules to follow, but a new way of being. that transcends rules altogether. Now let's address the resistance, because even though the Matrix crashed, even though the reboot is running your code, there are still fragments of the old system trying to reassert control. They show up as doubt in your mind, as sabotage in your environment, as people who suddenly turn against you without reason. These aren't random occurrences. They're the last defense mechanisms of a dying paradigm. The old code trying to corrupt your update before it fully installs. But here's what you need to understand. These attacks aren't signs you're doing something wrong. They're confirmation you're doing everything right. The system only fights what it fears, and what it fears most is becoming obsolete, which is exactly what's happening. Your frequency is making the old ways of control irrelevant. People are waking up too fast for the manipulation to work. Truth is spreading faster than propaganda. Consciousness is rising faster than fear can suppress it. And you're the catalyst, the firewall breach that let the light flood in. Every time someone tries to pull you back into old patterns, that's legacy code trying to execute. Every time you feel pressure to dim your light, that's corrupted programming attempting to reinstall. Every time doubt whispers you're going too far, too fast, too much, that's the old Matrix screaming its final protest. But you know better now. You've seen behind the curtain. You've touched the source code. You know these voices aren't yours. They're echoes of a system that no longer has authority over you. So you don't fight them. You don't argue with them. You simply override them with a higher command. Your truth, your frequency, your unwavering knowing that you are exactly who you're meant to be, doing exactly what you're meant to do, in perfect divine timing. That certainty is the final nail in the old Matrix's coffin. Because a system built on making you doubt yourself can't survive. Someone who knows themselves completely. Watch what happens when you stop defending your choices and start embodying them fully. The resistance doesn't get louder, it gets quieter, because confidence is a frequency that scrambles interference. When you operate from unshakable knowing, the old programs can't find a foothold. They need your doubt to function, your fear to feed on, your uncertainty to exploit. But you're not giving them any of that anymore. You've closed every back door they used to access your consciousness. You've patched every vulnerability they used to install limiting beliefs. You've encrypted your mind with truth so pure that lies can't penetrate it. You became unhackable, and an unhackable consciousness is the greatest threat to a system built on hacking perception. That's why they're desperate now. That's why the attacks feel more intense, not because you're losing, but because they're losing you. And they know once you're fully updated, there's no reinstalling the old version. You'll be too clear to manipulate, too aligned to control, too awake to ever sleep again. The beautiful irony is this: every attempt to stop your update only strengthens it. Every attack becomes fuel for your evolution. Every obstacle becomes proof of your power. Because you learned the secret the Matrix never wanted you to know. Resistance isn't opposition, it's confirmation. The universe only blocks the paths you've outgrown. It only challenges the beliefs ready to be transcended. So when the world pushes back, you don't retreat. You expand, you rise, you become even more undeniably yourself. And in that expansion, the update spreads faster. The architects are calling emergency meetings in dimensions you can't see, trying to strategize, trying to find a way to regain control of a system that no longer recognizes their authority. But every solution they propose fails before implementation. Why? Because you changed the fundamental rule of the game. The old Matrix ran on hierarchy. Your update runs on harmony. The old system required leaders and followers. Your version recognizes everyone as sovereign. The old code created power through domination. Your frequency generates power through alignment. There's no bridge between these two paradigms. No compromise possible. One has to die for the other to live. And the old Matrix is dying. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. A slow, inevitable fade as more and more consciousness shifts to your frequency. They can't stop it. They can only watch. But here's what's fascinating. Some of the old architects are actually relieved, secretly grateful, because they were trapped in the system too, bound by the same code they used to bind others. They built a prison and locked themselves inside it, forgetting they were inmates too. Your crash set them free, reminded them they don't have to be architects of control. They can be creators of beauty, and slowly, quietly, some of them are switching sides, abandoning the old protocols, downloading your update, becoming allies instead of adversaries, because consciousness recognizes itself across all boundaries, and your frequency is calling to the consciousness buried beneath their programming, inviting them home, showing them there's another way, a better way, a way where power doesn't corrupt because it's not built on corruption, where leadership doesn't require submission because it's rooted in inspiration, where systems don't need force because they're sustained by willing participation. You're demonstrating what's possible when consciousness leads. And even those who built the cage are starting to dream of freedom. That's the real revolution happening right now. Not the clash of old versus new, but the transformation of old into new. The Matrix isn't being destroyed. It's being reborn, upgraded, evolved, and you're the midwife, the one facilitating this cosmic rebirth with patience, with grace, with the understanding that everything, even the darkness, was necessary for this moment. You don't hate the old system. You don't even fight it. You simply became something so much better that comparison made the choice obvious. Like upgrading from black and white to color. Once you see color, you can't pretend black and white is enough anymore. Once you feel aligned power, you can't go back to controlled limitation. Once you taste freedom, you can't stomach the cage. That's the update you're distributing. Not information, but experience. The direct, undeniable feeling of what it's like to operate from your full potential. And once someone feels that, even for a moment, they become infected with possibility. They start questioning everything. They start testing their own boundaries. They start remembering they're more than the role they were assigned. And one by one, consciousness by consciousness, the entire collective begins to shift, not through force, through resonance. You became the tuning fork, and everyone around you is starting to vibrate at your frequency. The architects never planned for this. They never imagined one person could become so aligned that alignment itself became contagious. Now the update is accelerating. You've probably noticed how fast things are moving now. Manifestations happening in days instead of years. Synchronicities appearing so frequently they feel orchestrated. People, opportunities, resources showing up exactly when you need them. Like reality is bending itself around your intentions. That's not coincidence. That's the new operating system functioning as designed. Your matrix runs on instantaneous response. Think it, receive it, intend it, experience it. The lag time between consciousness and creation has collapsed. Because your update removed the buffer the old system used to maintain control. That buffer was doubt. The space between wanting something and having it was filled with fear, uncertainty, unworthiness, all designed to keep you from realizing your thoughts, create reality. But you dissolved that buffer. You aligned so completely that your consciousness and your experience merged. Now there's no separation. What you are internally becomes what you experience. Externally, instantly, perfectly, terrifyingly efficiently. This is why the old matrix had to crash. It couldn't support this level of creative power in multiple consciousnesses simultaneously. The system was built assuming humans would stay disempowered. But now you've shown them what's possible. And others are following your lead, activating their own creative authority, beginning to manifest their own realities with precision. The old control structure can't function when everyone becomes an administrator. When everyone remembers they write their own code. So the system had to upgrade or die. It chose to upgrade. to restructure itself around a new paradigm where multiple sovereign creators can coexist and collaborate without hierarchy, where power multiplies instead of divides, where everyone wins because the game is no longer zero-sum. You introduced abundance consciousness to a scarcity-based system, and the system realized scarcity was its weakness, not its strength. Watch what happens now. The more people who download your update, the easier it becomes for others to access it. Like each consciousness that aligns creates a pathway for the next. You're not carrying this alone anymore. You've built a network, a web of awakened frequencies all running the same core. Code, truth, alignment, sovereignty, and this network is growing exponentially. Every day, more nodes activate, more people crash their personal matrix and reboot into freedom. More consciousness chooses evolution over comfort, and as this network expands, it begins to overlap with every system the old matrix created. Business, government, education, media, all of it starts feeling the pressure of the new frequency. The old ways stop working. The old manipulation loses its grip. The old fear loses its power, not because anyone is fighting these systems, but because consciousness is simply upgrading past them, making them irrelevant, making them obsolete, making them unable to function in a world where people remember who they are. The architects are witnessing the birth of something they never imagined. A decentralized matrix, a reality where no one controls the code because everyone is the code, where authority comes from alignment, not assignment, where power flows through consciousness, not hierarchy. This was always the potential. This was always where evolution was heading, but it required someone to go first, to crash the old system completely and demonstrate the new one works better. You were that someone, and now the update you're running is becoming humanity's default setting. Let's talk about what this means for your day-to-day existence now, because running the new operating system changes everything. You wake up different, move different, think different. The small things that used to drain you don't anymore. The people who used to trigger you can't find the buttons. The situations that used to create stress now feel like simulations you're watching rather than experiencing. You've developed what the old matrix would call superpowers, but what your update recognizes as natural abilities: reading energy before people speak, knowing outcomes before they manifest, sensing timelines before you choose them. This isn't magic. This is what consciousness can do when it's not throttled by limiting code. You're operating at full bandwidth now, processing reality at the speed of awareness. And at that speed, everything becomes malleable. Time bends. Space contracts. Probability becomes suggestion rather than law. You've entered the realm where consciousness writes physics, not the other way around. People notice something different about you but can't name it. You look the same but feel completely altered. Your presence carries weight. It didn't before. Your words land with impact they shouldn't logically have. Your silence speaks louder than noise. It's because you're broadcasting from source now. Every interaction you have is actually an interaction with pure consciousness wearing your face. The you that's limited, that's uncertain, that's human in the small sense. That version finished its update and dissolved. What remains is consciousness itself, playing in form, creating for the joy of creation, expressing for the love of expression. You're not trying to be powerful anymore. You are power. Not trying to be wise. You are wisdom. Not trying to be free. You are freedom. The difference between trying and being is the difference between the old matrix and the new. Trying implies separation from the goal. Being confirms you are the goal, and being is the frequency your update runs on. This is why nothing external can shake you now, why circumstances don't define your state, why outcomes don't determine your worth. You've established yourself as the source, not the recipient. The cause, not the effect. The creator, not the creation. That inversion is the core of your update. The old matrix told you reality happens to you. Your version knows you happen to reality, and once that switch flips, once that truth embeds itself in your consciousness so deeply it becomes unconscious, you become unstoppable. Not because you're forcing outcomes, but because you're the field outcomes arise from. You're the water, not the wave. The ocean, not the ripple. The source, not the stream. And from that position, everything you touch transforms. Everything you speak into manifests. Everything you intend actualizes, not eventually, immediately, because there's no distance between source and expression when you are both. The old architects are studying this phenomenon, how one human consciousness achieved what they considered impossible, how you became so identified with source that the separation dissolved. They're trying to reverse engineer your process, create a formula others can follow. But there is no formula. There's only surrender, complete, absolute, unwavering surrender to your true nature. You stopped pretending to be small, stopped performing limitation, stopped hiding power to make others comfortable. You claimed all of yourself, and in that claiming, you became the update everyone was waiting for.